Okay, hi everyone. So I'm here to share my journey. I decided to become an iOS developer, and it's a lightning talk, so it's a quick one, so let's get to it. So when I decided to become an iOS developer in 2017, the first question came to me is from where to start. And I started around 2017 and with Team Treehouse online learning because I was working full-time in marketing, but I failed. The reason was because I was not able to give attention and time and dedication, so it was not working for me. Up in January 2018, I decided to give it another try, and at that time I started with App Development with Swift course, RMIT. It's like a crash course. By the way, this book, App Development with Swift, is free in books. It's a wonderful resource. How did I do? I did all the exercises which were mentioned in the book at least twice. I watched all the WWDC videos mentioned in the book. Also, I tried and built one or two features which was not mentioned in the book. And this course finished around June 2018. And at the end, I felt like confident. I was getting programming, but not confident enough to go out and start looking for a job or start building my own app. So I started looking online about the resources which I can use to continue my journey. I started asking questions to my mentor that which kind of resources I can use. Another thing I did is I started sharing my work with other people. So whoever with me in the course, I started sharing my code, and every day I was doing something and I was sharing, which helped me. It was my own purpose to be accountable. So after June, I started with Stanford iTunes U course. Which was great, but I stumbled on lecture 2. The main reason was I was not ready for it. So I changed strategy a bit, and instead of copying whatever instructor was saying on the screen, I started focusing on the content. If I don't understand any class or method, I just open documentation and check what it is. And I learned a lot by doing that. Also, I use different resources, which I mentioned later in the presentation, but these 3 resources helped me the most in my journey. There comes December then. By December, actually, I checked my laptop and I developed like 55, 60 apps, but none of them were ready for production. So my mentor gave me best advice that, build an app and put it in the App Store, and that was the best learning happened. So I started working on an app. And first challenge I faced was design. I'm not a designer. I was not a designer at that time. And person was helping me with the design, but she started another job, so she couldn't help. So I have to do it myself, and I thought, okay, let me learn about design. And I made it simple. I opened my phone. I checked all the apps that I was using, just checking and asking questions why the button is here and not there. What happens if I tap something? Is it something as a user I expect, which is happening? Also, I started learning about Sketch. I built few prototypes, few wireframes. I designed some logos, vector assets, and within probably a month, I was ready to design my own app. And then I started coding. Now, funny thing happened is when I decided to build an app, I started with Core ML. So my idea was simple. User doodle number, I get that number with Core ML model and check in my code whether it's right or wrong. After working for 20, 30 days, I realized that my Core ML model was not working for me. The maximum accuracy I was getting was around 85 to 90%, and I thought it's not an app that I can put it, like it's bad user experience. So I changed everything. I redesigned, re-architectured the whole app, and after a little bit of testing, I actually launched my app, and it is now in the App Store. Which was wonderful. After that, I decided to build my own website as well. Why not? Every developer has a website, right? So, but I didn't know anything about HTML or CSS. So I use Wix, but there are other resources as well, which if you are in my situation, you can use. After launch, I started getting wonderful reviews. Some of the reviews are here. In one of the schools in USA, some teacher deployed my app to 40 students. I started getting emails like how my app is good, what I can do better, which was really encouraging for me to do more work. I felt like I built something which is actually useful to someone. So that was wonderful. Also, my app has been picked up by App Advice, and they actually featured there. And here, as an independent developer, I did something after I launched my app was I started putting code snippet or something which I was learning, which I felt interesting, online on Instagram. So I'm an Instagram person. I'm not a Twitter person yet. So whenever I was putting something, my app download increased like 20 to 40% on that day. So if you're an independent developer, it might help. Now I'm mentioning all the other resources which I use. If you're a book person, these are some of the books I use, videos, podcast, other websites. For design, I use these resources. Now, I want to mention here that for me, the key was I immersed myself into the environment. So when I started, I was just getting like 20, 30% when I was hearing podcast. But suddenly after 6 months, 7 months, I started getting everything, like 80 to 90%. And then I realized like, wow, it's working. So whenever I get my hands on something, I was just doing it. So if you're learning something new, it might help, just immerse yourself. My biggest resource is my mentor, Mugund Kumar. Thanks a ton. He helped me a lot. Thank you. So now the next chapter, recently I have been laid off from my work because of some financial trouble with the company after 5.5 years working with them. So now I decided to become full-time developer instead of just working at night and late night and early mornings. So now my future, I decided, is I'm going to launch another 3 or 4 apps in 2-3 months, work with different frameworks and see how it goes. Also, I want to work on my coding skill, writing code that anyone can come and read, increase my knowledge about Swift, and improve my design skill. If you ask me what it takes to become an iOS developer, I would say that there are only 2 things, attitude and persistence. It's not rocket science. Anybody can do it. I did it, so anybody can do it. And in fact, when I finished my course, there was like 22 people who started course with me. And I'm the first one who actually developed an app after finishing the course. And I did it just because I was having this persistence. So it's hard. I'm not saying it's easy if you're working full time, but it's thrilling, fun, and joyride. And also I just put this quote because that's what I realized when I developed my own app and I learned about iOS. Push your limits and soon you will find yourself limitless. These are my social media handles, so if you want to reach out to me or ask me or talk with me, so this is where you can find me. Thank you so much for listening to me. I want to say thank you to Sally for helping me with the presentation. Mugund, he's always big help. And my wife, she helped me a lot throughout my journey. And thank you for listening to me.